You've probably experienced at one point or another someone telling you that they saw someone who looked exactly like you. Or perhaps you're the one who thought for sure you saw a person you knew, only to find out it was just a random lookalike. Could it have possibly been their doppelganger? If you're judging by the supernatural meaning of a doppelganger, then I certainly hope it wasn't. Today we often use the term doppelganger casually to refer to a twin stranger, or a random person who just so happens to weirdly look a lot like you. Coming across an almost identical stranger can definitely be freaky, but the original interpretation of a doppelganger is way more disturbing. So exactly what is a doppelganger in supernatural terms? The word itself translates literally to double goer, or double walker in German, and it's defined as a ghostly counterpart of a living person. In traditional folklore, doppelgangers are usually considered to be ghostly apparitions or entities rather than physical beings, and almost always sinister in nature. The sight of one, either your own or someone else's, is widely considered to be a bad omen, as doppelgangers are supposedly harbingers of darkness, bad luck, and sometimes straight up evil. The idea of a spiritual, ghostly, or demonic double of living people have existed for millennia, explained the paranormal guide. Much of the time, a doppelganger is viewed as an omen for a tragedy, illness, or death of a person who is copied. You know, the evil twin trope that's common in so many cultures, playing out in literature, art, film, and more. That's likely tied to the mythology of the doppelganger. So, according to legend, how could one identify their doppelganger? Well, first of all, the dead giveaway is that they look exactly like you, or at least very, very similar, and would essentially be you in every way except for that, well, they're not. According to the paranormal guide, these doubles may at times be seen by others as performing a person's actions before the real person makes them, or they may be a shadow performing the same movements, but after they have happened. Many historical reports claim doppelganger sightings have been a premonition for death and tragedy, and these apparitions have other strange paranormal qualities as well. The doppelgangers of folklore cast no shadow and have no reflection in a mirror or in water, explains metaphysics website Crystal Links. And while doppelgangers themselves allegedly have no reflection, there are many reports of people seeing their own doppelganger in the mirror, either next to their actual reflection or as a distorted version of it. A very famous doppelganger sighting was in the case of President Abraham Lincoln, who allegedly claimed he saw a double reflection of himself in the mirror and his face appearing in two separate and distinct images. The second face, though, was distinctly paler and more sickly looking than his actual reflection. He allegedly shared this haunting experience with his wife, and according to ancient origins, she was said to be very worried and told Lincoln she believed that the paleness of half the dual image was a bad omen, which meant that Lincoln would serve his first full term but would not live to finish his second. Tragically, and bone-chillingly, this proved to be true. Whether that reported doppelganger sighting was a warning or a premonition is up for debate, but honestly, it's creepy either way. So, your alleged evil twin could, according to doppelganger mythology, appear to you or someone else at any time, bringing negative omens galore. But apparently, they might also try to mess with your head. Many doppelganger accounts suggest the apparition might attempt to provide advice to the person they shadow, but that this advice could be misleading or malicious, according to ancient origins. They may also attempt to plant sinister ideas into their victim's mind or cause them great confusion. And apparently, they may also try to interact with others as you, which adds a whole new layer of confusion. In all cases, it's considered advisable to never interact with your doppelganger, as it's thought to bring even more bad luck. And while there are many reports throughout history of doppelgangers serving as bad omens or appearing as supernatural apparitions, sometimes you may just come across a regular person who, by freak chance, looks a lot like you. In playing the game of genetic roulette, there's always a chance that someone somewhere will end up looking strangely similar to someone else, even though there's no direct relation. We only have so many genes in the collective human gene pool, and while there are a lot of different variations, apparently those variations are infinitely finite. We aren't that genetically diverse, reported Canada's Global News. So eventually, the numbers would dictate that certain features resembling yours will randomly combine. That means that according to science, it's totally possible for you to come across a stranger, an actual person, not a foreboding apparition, who looks eerily just like you. This could possibly explain some of the seemingly paranormal reports of doppelganger sightings throughout history. But who's to say? In any case, here's to hoping that if you ever do spot a doppelganger, it's of the modern-day non-ghostly persuasion with zero bad luck vibes in sight. Sightings and reports of doppelgangers have been around for centuries, and a great deal of superstition has developed around them. Traditionally, they have been viewed as sinister or even evil entities. Seeing a doppelganger has also been considered an omen of misfortune or bad luck. Most often today, however, as reports of doppelgangers show, they seem to be neither sinister nor evil, nor do they herald streaks of bad luck, although some have been known to cause mischief. They just seem to be going about their business, and as if they're normal human beings. And perhaps they are. Many reports of doppelgangers are probably cases of mistaken identity, but such an explanation becomes harder to accept when they are seen by best friends, siblings, and parents who know the real person intimately. It seems hard to believe that they would be fooled by another person who simply resembles the original. And how likely is it that they would have the exact same haircut and clothes, as is so often reported? Another explanation for the phenomenon, and no less mysterious, is bilocation, a psychic projection of yourself in every detail that can appear in another place. This phantom self can even interact with other people. Role of doppelganger in fiction. Doppelgangers are frequently used as a plot device in literature, television shows, and movies. They are often evil in nature, but sometimes they are used for comedic effect too. Art is another common place where this phenomenon can be found, as in the case of museum doppelgangers. One of the most famous examples of a doppelganger is in Edgar Allan Poe's short story, William Wilson. In this tale, the main character meets his doppelganger as a child. He is persistently followed by the copy who causes trouble in the character's life. And when the main character tries to do evil or unethical things, the doppelganger tries to stop him. But in a rage, the protagonist kills his doppelganger, but he realizes it is a reflection of his own self. This isn't the only ghostly example of a doppelganger myth seemingly coming true. Here are a few of the most horrifying things people believe and or have believed about doppelgangers. Number 1. Seeing your doppelganger is an omen of death. The most widely known myth about doppelgangers is that they are an omen of death. According to both English and German folklore, seeing your doppelganger often means that death will soon follow. Even more if you see them more than once. This idea is backed up by the many stories throughout time that have told tales where someone died shortly after seeing their doppelganger multiple times, like Lincoln. Number 2. If someone else sees your doppelganger, it means you might be very sick. You're not off the hook if someone else spots your doppelganger either. Linda Derry, site director of the Old Chahaba Ghost Town in Alabama and curator of folklore originating from that region, told Atlas Obscura, if someone else saw your doppelganger, it could mean that you may be very ill. Number 3. Your doppelganger is a ghostly double that lived before you. Other ancient myths say that a doppelganger is essentially a ghostly double of you who lived before you do, which is very creepy to think about. It comes from Norse mythology, and the doppelganger is there called Vardager. According to ancient pages, the stories of Vardager describe incidents that are basically deja vu in reverse, where a spirit within the subject's footsteps, voice, scent, or appearance, and overall demeanor precedes them in a location or activity, resulting in witnesses believing they've seen or heard the actual person before the person physically arrives. Number 4. It is your evil double from the underworld. Then there was the Native American myth that said that a doppelganger is basically your evil double from the underworld. Native American myths say that there is an upper world and an underworld. The good people live in the upper world and the evil people live in the underworld. The Hopi legend refers to twins called the child of the sun and the child of the water. The Hopi also believe that whatever is happening in the upper world, the opposite is happening in the underworld. Number 5. It's a sign of an alternate universe. According to Supernatural magazine, there is one more theory. A doppelganger could represent a parallel universe in which everything in this world is replicated in another dimension. Seeing the doppelganger could be a moment when we're able to witness the other dimension. In fact, Columbia University physicist Brian Greene, author of the book The Hidden Reality, Parallel Universes and the Deep Laws of the Cosmos, says that we all have doppelgangers. While doppelgangers are usually associated with bad luck and ill omens, coming across your doppelganger does not have to be a terrifying experience. It is certainly strange to find someone who looks, talks, and dresses like you, but speaking with the doppelganger can be a rewarding experience. It can give you unique insight into areas of yourself. Doppelgangers are one of the strangest and most interesting paranormal phenomena. There could be someone out there who looks just like you.